Hi everyone, today I'm going to talk about EIP 1559. That's Ethereum Improvement Proposal 1559. So initially this was scheduled for the Berlin hard fork, which was supposed to take place most likely this month. Okay, so a hard fork is when basically the blockchain undergoes new code, which requires an update, which makes the old blockchain obsolete. So the most famous version of this is the original hard fork where Ethereum tried to roll back some stolen funds from DAO, basically. So they hard forked, pretending like it never happened. Although in that case, the old version of Ethereum still exists to this day in the form of Ethereum Classic. Okay, so anyway, with EIP 1559. They're planning some major changes. And don't forget, this is going to happen before Ethereum 2.0. So Ethereum 2.0 are going to be the biggest changes of all, going from proof of work to proof of stake. Most people know about this. But what most people don't know about is EIP 1559. So if you have to do a little digging to find out when this is going to happen. Some people were saying this would happen this month or next month, but that's not the case. It's not going to happen with the Berlin hard fork. It's not quite ready yet. It's still undergoing testing, and the best estimate I can get right now is in about 3 months. So the reason this is important is because this increases the functionality of the Ethereum blockchain almost immediately, right? In a matter of 3 months. We're not going to have to wait for Ethereum 2.0. That could be 1 or 2 years away, but this is going to happen very soon. Okay, so what this is going to do is it's going to change the way, it's going to do multiple things. First of all, it's going to change the way that gas fees are calculated, right? So right now it's an auction system. So if you want your transaction to go through faster, you pay more gas. So what happens in that situation is some people like doing very important transactions, like for example with DeFi, right? If you're trying to get the highest yield, you have to get that transaction through quick. You're going to pay high gas rates. You might pay $100 to get your transaction through, right? And that causes other people to pay $150, and it gets out of control. The fees are not supposed to be that high, right? The gas fees normally should be in the range of $5 or so, but they've gotten out of control because the network is congested and it becomes kind of an arms race. So one of the things this does is it sets a base fee. Okay, the base fee is going to be determined by the amount of traffic on the blockchain. So whenever basically they're going to increase the max gas size by double, right? So the max gas size is equivalent to the max block size of a Bitcoin transaction. So when you double the max gas size, you double the amount of transactions that Ethereum can process. So whenever the network usage goes over 50%, the max gas size will double, and also the transaction fee will increase by 12.5%. So this will keep happening as long as there's demand. Eventually, the transaction fee will get high enough to discourage people from using it so that the actual utilization rate is under 50%, in which case the max gas size will go back down to 12.5 million from, it can be either 12.5 million or 25 million, depending on the usage. So in this way, you'll get kind of an optimal gas fee. On top of that, you can still pay additionally in order to prioritize your transaction, in order to make it go faster. So this is called a tip. So basically in the old model, the miners were paid a subsidy for every block they mined, plus the transaction fees. Now they're going to be paid basically a base fee. They're going to be paid a small base fee and the tip. And also on top of that, this is a big one, a lot of the base fee is going to be used to burn Ethereum. So this is deflationary. So think about this. Okay, this is much like the way that companies like buy back their stock, or like I have Binance Coin. They buy back their Binance tokens and burn them. They use, I think, 25% of profits, or maybe 50%, it's in that range, to buy back and burn their tokens, which makes their tokens rarer and more valuable. right? So I know I heard Elizabeth Warren saying the other day that this is stock manipulation. I don't think so. I think that this is just companies investing in themselves when they do it, right? But definitely this leads to price inflation. So this is definitely a positive for the price of Ether. Now the miners are complaining. They're saying that they're going to get hurt. They're not going to be able to collect as many fees, but I don't think their complaint is valid because the fees were never intended to be this high. They're out of control, right? So Ethereum is meant for everybody, not just for the miners, right? So this, I think, is a great solution, and it's going to happen in about 3 months, it sounds like. So this could be a major step forward in solving the congestion problems that Ethereum has due to the popularity of decentralized finance. Now, also another thing is, Ethereum has been close to breaking its all-time highs once again. It just hit 1,400 today, even though Bitcoin has been stalling around 34,500. Bitcoin can't seem to break that level of 34,500. So possibly it'll follow Ethereum up this time. Last time when Elon Musk tweeted, he changed his Twitter profile to Bitcoin. And it made Bitcoin go up $5,000 in 15 minutes. It went up to 38,500, and then it came right back down again. Maybe because there's no follow through. Maybe because he didn't disclose that he was buying Bitcoin or anything, and people didn't know if this was serious or if he was just trolling. But later he said he is a big supporter of Bitcoin. But Bitcoin has been stalling, and if it wasn't for that tweet, it might have really crashed at that level, right? It might have gone down below the 29,000 level, in which it could have gone down to 25,000. But Elon Musk kind of kept Bitcoin afloat for now in the short term, and kept it right around that 34,000 level. Now Ethereum is moving up despite the fact that Bitcoin is stalling. So over the weekend, Bitcoin was outperforming and Ethereum had a small sell-off, but now Ethereum's recovering. And people think this might be why. It might be because of EIP 1559. So there are many things on the horizon for Ethereum, which is going to lead to price appreciation. Like I've been over before with Ethereum 2.0, that's a big one. But also you have Ethereum futures, right? So Wall Street is going to start embracing Ethereum, or at least they're going to have a vehicle in which they can bet on Ethereum, resulting in increased liquidity. So Wall Street may, a lot of them have very stringent rules on what they can invest in, right? And so when the futures product becomes available, that gives them an opportunity to take part in speculating on Ethereum, which could be good for the price or maybe not, because we know when the Bitcoin futures came out, that was right at the peak. The day the Bitcoin futures came out was the high of 19,700 for Bitcoin. It sold off after that. That could be a case of buy the rumor, sell the news, or maybe it's because the futures gave Wall Street an opportunity to short Bitcoin. Now, in the long run, this has to be a positive. Also, if you see things like the Grayscale investment trust for Ethereum, you'll notice that this trust just keeps increasing in size, both in value and in the number of Ether it holds. So as long as these large funds continue to accumulate, that's going to be a positive thing for both Bitcoin and Ethereum. The Grayscale Bitcoin fund has I think about $10 billion in Bitcoin, but the Bitcoin Ethereum fund has something like $3 billion in Ethereum. So they're also getting quite large. So these have an influence on the price. So in addition to that, you also have the EIP 1559. That could be the short-term catalyst, right? Because this is something that people may not realize until it actually comes out. And then when it actually happens, people are going to realize how big this is. This is going to be a game changer, because suddenly the transaction rate is going to go as high as double, right? Depending on what price people are willing to pay for transactions. And it's just like the internet, right? So if you remember, if you're old enough like me, where your experience of the internet in the 90s involved dialing in with a modem and waiting for 2 minutes for the page to load, it was cool, but it wasn't that useful. So that's kind of like where Ethereum is at right now. So it's cool for some things. I mean, if you have a foreign currency that you want to change, and you don't want to get ripped off by the banks. Did you know the banks, they charge you about 10% to change foreign currency cash? That's why you go to a money changer instead. But even when you wire money into a foreign currency, they're going to charge you. You have to take whatever rate they're going to give you. They usually take 0.5% or so there. But I mean, if you're doing it with crypto, you lose almost nothing, right? You just lose the transaction fee and the volatility. You could do it with a stable coin like USD Tether, and then you lose almost nothing, right? So it's useful, but not as useful as it will be. Not nearly as useful as it will be when the bandwidth is there. So it's just like the internet. When the bandwidth increased, new uses came out, like streaming video was kind of the game changer for the internet. You know, Netflix just exploded onto the scene. They used to mail DVDs, and then when it became all about streaming videos, they became like a multi-hundred billion dollar company. So likely when Ethereum 2.0 comes out, and all this new transaction capacity exists, people will find uses for it. Decentralized finance is a good example, right? So when gas fees are so high, because of the congestion, it really hurts your returns. So when gas fees go down to, you know, potentially like 1 cent, imagine how much useful it'll be and how much higher the price will be. And so that's why I think Ethereum is really something that everyone should hold on to a little bit. And another thing is, a lot of these kind of old Wall Street guys that don't really get it, they'll get it eventually, right? So right now it's mostly tech guys, young guys that are into crypto. Eventually everyone's going to be into crypto. They're going to have no choice, right? Everybody's going to have a little bit of crypto, and by the time they do, the price is going to be a lot higher than it is now. Like, for example, Warren Buffett. I remember when I used to own Apple stock, I remember he was on CNBC and someone asked him, what do you think about Apple stock? And he said, I don't really understand tech companies. I stay away from them, right? Now I think it's his biggest position now, right? Because he finally got an iPhone like a couple years ago, right? So when these guys like Warren Buffett finally jump in, that's probably when I'm going to be selling. But that's a long way away. That's probably 5 or 10 years down the road, right? The price will be much, much higher than it is now if we ever get to that point. Now, a lot of things can go wrong along the way, right? So they say that with quantum computing, I mean, crypto can be hacked with quantum computers, but you know, hopefully we'll have time in order to increase the encryption so that it won't be able to be hacked by quantum computing. But that affects the efficiency of the entire network. That's why it's so important to increase the maximum transaction rate, because by increasing the encryption, you're going to lower the maximum transaction rate. But that's not a big deal when you have plenty of capacity to spare. Right now, it would be a big deal, right? So basically, that's it for this video. Make sure you subscribe and like and comment down below. And yeah, hopefully, if you guys like the video, support my videos, and I'll keep making new videos. And I'm open to requests. I go through all the comments. So if you have any questions, just let me know, and I'll address them in the next video. Thanks.